about a few thousand jars and lids. We need to do a purchase order of 1 million.
Rosé sold out also in less than an hour.
44 minutes. I was shocked. Then we prepped for the second seasonal drop and 10x'd our inventory. That sold out in a couple hours. This is your baby and this is your brand. That was a crew of 80 people.
And the plan is to go global.
Yes.
Oh my God. Meghan Markle went on Bloomberg trying to show off her business empire, but everything fell apart, she said. Her rose sold out in 44 minutes and went from thousands to millions of units, and the Netflix thing she mentions is so wild, it all looks fake and out of touch with real business.
Rosé sold out also in less than an hour.
44 minutes. I was shocked.
Meghan Markle's claim falls apart. Her new product selling out in 44 minutes makes no sense. She acts like it happened from social media, but selling thousands in an hour needs big demand and fancy systems. Only big companies have.
How do you keep up with demand?
When you sell out that quickly, it's a double-edged sword because it's an incredible thing to happen for any small business.
Can you believe Meghan says she was shocked her product sold out so fast? If you run a real business, you always know the demand. This shows no planning. And then she says selling out quickly was a problem because they couldn't track data properly, which means her systems are weak, or she's making up numbers.
And at the same time, you don't get the same metrics and learnings about which SKUs and products are the most coveted.
You won't believe how Meghan's story gets even crazier. If a luxury brand really had this much demand, there would be media coverage, social media buzz, hashtags, waiting lists, and everyone talking about it. Yet, she claims her brand sold out in 44 minutes with none of that. This makes the whole thing sound made up, and then it gets wilder, she says. For the second drop, they multiplied inventory by 10, like suddenly managing tens of thousands of units with all the costs and risks. But somehow it sold out in just a few hours, like it's nothing, which just makes her business story totally unbelievable.
Then we prepped for the second seasonal drop and 10x'd our inventory and thought for sure that would at least last for a couple weeks.
You have to see how impossible Meghan's claim really is. Multiplying inventory by 10 is not just ordering more, it means 10 times the warehouse space, packaging, shipping, and customer service. Small brands can't scale like that. Even if somehow they could, the numbers still don't work. Selling tens of thousands in a few hours needs thousands of transactions at once with no website crashes or payment problems, which only big companies can handle.
That sold out in a couple hours.
It's crazy how suspicious Meghan's story gets. There is no sign of any cultural impact when products sell. Like she says, there is usually social media, buzz, news coverage, influencers, and everyone talking. Yet she claims her brand sold out insanely fast with none of that. No hashtags, no frustrated customers, no resellers, nothing. And the timeline she gives would need huge operational skills. But she presents the brand as a small artisanal business where she's personally involved, which makes the whole thing even harder to believe.
And suddenly the conversation goes from a few thousand jars and lids to we need to do a purchase order of 1 million.
You won't believe how ridiculous Meghan's story gets. She acts like after starting with thousands of units, her little jam and rose business suddenly needed millions of units in just a few months. This is insane. 1 million units is huge. It needs massive factories, huge money, complex supply chains, and big distribution networks. This is something even big companies with years of experience struggle with, yet she acts like it's normal. She totally ignores that you need proven demand retail partners and huge financial guarantees, and storage for that many units would need giant warehouses, not a small artisanal brand headquarters. It just shows how out of touch and unrealistic her business claims really are.
And that's a huge jump in just a few months of starting a business.
It's crazy how absurd Meghan's million-unit story is. She makes it sound like going from a few thousand to 1 million units is normal, but it's like saying you went from riding a bike to flying a plane in months. There is no infrastructure, no job postings, no factories, nothing to support this. And it also totally contradicts her claims about artisanal quality and personal involvement. You can't keep that personal touch while making millions of units. It's all just made up.
I'm exasperated in some ways by that only because it is such a tedious proposition to scale your own home recipe to something at mass and maintain the same, not just quality, but the same flavor that you're able to do at home.
Can you believe Meghan's million-unit claim is not just exaggeration, it's totally clueless. She has no idea how real businesses grow. Real companies scale slowly, check demand, and make decisions based on data, not fantasy. And this makes you question everything else she says. And then she talks about Netflix acting like she's calling all the shots, and Netflix just supports her like the perfect independent boss story, but it just shows how fake her whole business empire really is.
They very graciously said, no, this is your baby and this is your brand. So all creative decisions and final decisions like that end up with me.
Then things get absolutely brutal. Meghan starts spilling how the Netflix partnership really works, and every detail totally contradicts her independent boss story. She admits Netflix handles suppliers, manufacturing, expertise, distribution, basically everything that keeps her business running. So if Netflix controls all that, what part of her business is really independent?
They have a lot of incredible suppliers and manufacturers that they are comfortable working with.
It gets even wilder. Meghan says she originally wanted to build her own team and run everything herself for real control and more profit, but then Netflix persuaded her to give up that independence. So instead of being a boss in charge, she's basically just riding on Netflix infrastructure with no real control at all.
That had been my plan. And I thought that it would be great just to build out my own team and really do it purely on my terms.
Here's how wild this whole thing gets. The timing is completely insane. Just days after Meghan did this interview, major entertainment news reported that the Netflix deal was actually downgraded instead of the exclusive supportive partnership she made. It sounded like now they could take projects elsewhere if Netflix passed. So either Meghan was not being honest about the deal, or she was completely clueless about what was about to happen. And either way, it totally exposes how little real business sense and understanding she actually has, making her whole boss lady story look even more fake.
Netflix is my partner and investor.
You have to see what the Netflix partnership really exposes. The main problem with Meghan's business story. She acts like an independent entrepreneur but is totally dependent on corporate support. She wants all the credit while outsourcing the real work. It's not just one deal. Her empire is basically just licensing her name and image to Netflix. And then she says her Netflix show needed a crew of 80 people, making it sound normal, but anyone who knows TV production knows that's way too big for a small lifestyle show, and it makes her whole story look completely fake.
And a huge crew, which I think people often forget. That was a crew of 80 people.
To give you some perspective, most cooking and lifestyle shows only need around 15 to 30 people. Even fancy shows usually stay under 40. A crew of 80 is normally what you see on huge drama series or feature films with lots of locations, effects, and post-production, not on a small jam-making and flour arranging show.
So most of it in the pre-production was inspired by recipes that I love to make.
Managing 80 crew members for a lifestyle show would be crazy expensive, with costs for pay insurance, food transport, and coordination, making her claim totally unrealistic, and the only reason to say it is to make her operation sound bigger and fancier than it really is. The quality of a show doesn't depend on crew size, and anyone who knows TV production would see through this exaggeration immediately.
It's a great question. A lot of prep.
The 80-person crew claim shows Meghan's pattern of inflating numbers and exaggerating scale. Then she talks about going global with no real infrastructure or partnerships, making her business claims look totally unrealistic.
And the plan is to go global.
Yes, absolutely.
You won't believe how simple Meghan makes going global sound. She ignores all the real work needed, like distribution networks, international shipping logistics, customs rules, local market research, currency management, and approvals. Most brands spend years building at home first, but she acts like it's just a decision to ship products overseas with no clue about the real planning or costs.
Do you want to see it at Target or Williams-Sonoma, or?
I think a key retail partner is going to be very valuable.
It's unbelievable how absurd Meghan's global expansion claim is. She admits they don't even have basic domestic retail partners sorted out. She's still deciding which stores make sense for her products, but somehow acts confident about going international. You can't plan global growth when you don't even know if your products belong at Target or Williams-Sonoma. It's a total contradiction.
You might have exclusivity in certain ones that make sense for the consumables, but as you expand into candles or things throughout the home, where do those live that it makes sense?
Meghan talks about going global while still confused about basic retail strategy, and then claims she knows her Netflix audience perfectly, making it sound like she's in control, but it really shows she has no real understanding of business or customers.
I think I knew who I was trying to meet. And so if you know your audience, you know your demographic, well, they love the show.
The issue with Meghan claiming she knows her audience perfectly is she offers no real proof or data. She just says people love the show to make her business look good, and when critics complain, she brushes it off by claiming they're secretly following her recipes. It's not actual market research, it's just wishful thinking pretending to be a plan.
So I think oftentimes the negative voices, are they saying negative things and then secretly going home and making single skillet spaghetti? Possibly.
The problem with Meghan thinking her audience loves everything is it blocks real growth. If you assume all criticism is secretly positive, you'll never pay attention to actual feedback. Successful businesses watch customer behavior, run surveys, and adjust based on real opinions. They don't just ignore complaints and pretend everyone is happy.
And that's why we have a season 2 and why we have more fun coming.
Meghan's audience claims contradict what she says about learning from feedback. She complains about lacking analytics, but then acts fully confident without data showing denial, not real insight, and she also confuses pricing by using her teenage self to justify $9 jam, which shows she doesn't really understand market positioning.
So there is something I think really important in that the first hero product was this $9 jar of jam, which my 15-year-old self would have been able to buy.
Meghan's pricing story doesn't add up. BB shirts were always luxury for teens, so anyone who could buy them wouldn't have trouble affording $9 jam. And then she talks about luxury packaging and branding while saying she's aiming for accessibility. You can't be a high-end lifestyle brand and still genuinely cater to budget buyers.
And if you could get the one with the rhinestone BB, you really made it. And I always think about that version of me.
The pricing issue really shows how forced her relatability story is. She's using her designer shopping as a teen to claim she gets financial struggles, but the $9 jam is still pricey for most families. It's premium, not truly affordable. Her idea of accessibility is just slightly lowering luxury prices, not making them genuinely reachable for budget buyers.
Standpoint, I know where I came from. I remember being in high school and having my after-school job, and all I wanted to do was save up to buy a shirt that said BB.
Meghan's pricing story shows everything wrong with her business. She pretends to understand regular consumers, but the $9 jam isn't truly affordable. Her Bloomberg claims from 44-minute sellouts to million-unit orders. Fake Netflix independence and global expansion reveal someone disconnected from business reality. Her persona is built on exaggeration and fiction. Drop your thoughts, like, and subscribe for more insights. Hey guys, if you liked this video, hit like, subscribe to Jacob Reports, and turn on notifications. Drop your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned for more shocking celebrity business stories.